Answering Islam blog. Early Church Fathers on the Son's Ignorance of the Hour. Saint Hilary of Poitiers on the Trinity, Book 10. 6. But we have always maintained the birth existing out of time. We have taught that God the Son is God of the same nature with God the Father, not co-equal with the unbegotten, for he was not himself unbegotten, but as the only begotten, not unequal because begotten, that the two are one, not by the giving of a double name to one person, but by a true begetting and being begotten, that neither are there two gods different in kind in our faith, nor is God solitary because he is one, in the sense in which we confess the mystery of the only begotten God, but that the Son is both indicated in the name of and exists in the Father, whose name and whose nature are in him, while the Father by his name implies and abides in the Son, since a Son cannot be spoken of or exist except as born of a Father. Further, we say that he is the living copy of the living nature, the impression of the divine seal upon the divine nature, so undistinguished from God in power and kind, that neither his works, nor his words, nor his form are other than the Father's, but that since the image by nature possesses the nature of its author, the author also has worked and spoken and appeared through his natural image. 7. But by the side of this timeless and ineffable generation of the only begotten, which transcends the perception of human understanding, we taught as well the mystery of God born to be man from the womb of the Virgin, showing how according to the plan of the Incarnation, when he emptied himself of the form of God and took the form of a servant, the weakness of the assumed humanity did not weaken the divine nature, but that divine power was imparted to humanity without the virtue of divine being lost in the human form. For when God was born to be man, the purpose was not that the Godhead should be lost, but that, the Godhead remaining, man should be born to be God. Thus Emmanuel is his name, which is God with us, Matthew 1:23, that God might not be lowered to the level of man, but man raised to that of God. Nor, when he asks that he may be glorified, John 17:5, is it in any way a glorifying of his divine nature, but of the lower nature he assumed. For he asks for that glory which he had with God before the world was made. 8. As we are answering all, even their most insensate statements, we come now to the discussion of the unknown hour. Now, even if, as they say, the Son had not known it, this could give no ground for an attack upon his Godhead as the only begotten. It was not in the nature of things that his birth should avail to put his beginning aback, until it was equivalent to the existence which is unbegotten and had no beginning. And the Father reserves as his prerogative to demonstrate his authority as the unbegotten, the fixing of this still undetermined day. Nor may we conclude that in his person there is any defect in that nature which contained by right of birth all the fullness of that nature which a perfect birth could impart. Nor again could the ignorance of day and hour be imputed in the only begotten God to a lower degree of divinity. It is to demonstrate against the Sabellian heretics that the Father's authority is without birth or beginning, that this prerogative of unbegotten authority is not granted to the Son. But if, as we have maintained, when he said that he knew not the day, he kept silence not from ignorance, but in accordance with the divine plan, all occasion for irreverent declarations must be removed, and the blasphemous teachings of heresy thwarted, that the truth of the gospel may be illustrated by the very words which seem to obscure it. Next is Saint Athanasius.